How's it going, guys? Karelien here. Today I've got a different video for you than what's normally posted on my channel. Instead of Minecraft videos, today I'm posting something to do with RuneScape. So this is just a bunch of tips that I wish I knew when I created my first ever RuneScape account, and I hope it helps you all. Enjoy. So to start off our list with tip number 1, we have the Wiki Button. Now this is one of the most important tips on here that it has helped me countless times, and it's something that they don't tell you, and even though it's on the screen I didn't even notice it until weeks and weeks after playing RuneScape for the first time. So in your chat section down here, I've got mine on the bottom left, you can see next to where you'd enter in there's a little button that has Wiki. Now this is connected to the official RuneScape wiki, and if you click this and you type something in, so for example, let's say I just got my Slayer task, which is lesser demons, and I want to know where to go and find them. Instead of having to go and pull up my browser and type it in, or say get my phone, I type it into here. So we'll type lesser demons, press enter, and it will automatically bring up your browser straight away onto what you want on the RuneScape wiki, where you can find all of the information you need, locations, strategy, drops, just like that, just from clicking it. And the same thing can be applied with quests. If you just type into the Wiki button the name of the quest, it'll pop up with the quest, which you can then see how to do it, the walkthroughs, all that. There you go, tip number 1, on to tip number 2. Alright guys, so for tip number 2, we've got the Skybox. Now this is something I've recently learned about, which I think is incredible. As you can see now, this is what the game looks like default. My graphics are set to pretty high. I'm currently in ED3. It looks nice, but one thing I learned about, and this is after years of playing on and off, is if you right click the globe on your minimap, located on the right here, and click Skybox/filters, you can actually change how the sky's set. Now there's a bunch of different options. Some of them change like the contrast and the colors. But my favorite one is Shattered Worlds, and this gives you sort of like a galaxy feel, as you can see there. And it actually surprisingly makes the game a little brighter and a bit more colourful. So there you go, that's tip number 2, Skyboxes. Alright, so tip number 3, the bank placeholders. Now this one's a cool one if you're a bit like me and you like having your bank a little tidy, or you like setting it up a certain way. For example, in my armor tabs I have each of the tiers as they get higher and higher. Melee first, then range, magic. It's a little messy down the bottom here. But one thing I've recently learned about is the placeholder icon, which is this little cake icon down here. So you want to tick that, so it's got the check mark, and basically what that means is when you take armor out, it keeps behind sort of like an invisible slot, so that when you come out with the stuff that you've got and you go back into your bank, instead of just dumping it and having to reorganize it, it automatically goes back exactly where it was to begin with. Which means if you set something up like this, every time you take something out, it goes back to where you want it to go. So that's it for tip number 3. Alright guys, so for tip number 4, we've got multiple forge items. Now this is where you come to heat items up after you've made some bars at the furnace there, and this is something that took me a while to figure out while I was leveling up my smithing. But normally when you're leveling it up as fast as you can, you want to make multiple sets of armor, so you need a helmet, legs, chest piece, etc. So I would make a chest piece like this, and I'd want to try and click back on it to make, say, the chest plate, but you can't do that. It says you're not allowed to until you've finished heating up your first item, which means you then have to go to the anvil, fix that all up, complete it, and then you can make the next one. If you actually right click the forge and click open smithing interface, you can then start the next piece before finishing the first one. And same thing goes again, open it up again, onto the next one, make that. And this lets you just have everything here that you need, that you want to heat, and then come over to the anvil and begin. Once it finishes one of them, you just keep clicking and it does it like that. Little bit easy, it's not the world's best tip, but I found it a lot more helpful, and the game never told me anything about that. So for tip number 5, we have the Toolbelt. Now this is something that is explained when you make your first RuneScape account, but it's something that's not really elaborated on much, and if you're a returning player, maybe before they've added it, or from old school, hopefully this tip gives you a bit more information. Now with the tool belt, this makes things a lot easier with skilling when it comes to things where you need a tool to do something. For example, if you're going to go cut a tree, most people are probably used to the fact that you need the hatchet that you want to use in your inventory. Now RuneScape has a tool belt. So if you come over to your worn equipment, there's a belt icon which you can click, and you can view all of the tools that you already have on your belt which are not in your inventory. So if I wanted to go, mine right now, I've automatically got a rune pickaxe on there, but because of my mining level, I can actually go up to the next one, and which is a bane pickaxe for me. So you right click that, click add to Toolbelt, and now it's automatically in there. So when I go mining, I don't need a pickaxe in my inventory, it's already on my tool belt, and then that frees up an inventory space that you can use to get more ore, have food, potion, ore box, whatever. And it's just there, just like that, and you can do that with pickaxes, with hatchets, with archaeology tools, stuff like that. So for tip number 6, we have Grand Exchange extra information. Now, when you first start your account, you head to the Grand Exchange for the first time. You will have to do a little tutorial, and it does teach you how to buy and sell stuff, but it doesn't really go into depth with what to do if what you're trying to buy isn't buying quickly, or what you're trying to sell isn't selling quickly. Now, for a lot of players, this isn't a problem because they don't mind waiting, but if you're a bit like me and you're impatient, or you're about to do something or a quest and you really need something quicker, hopefully this information helps you, and this is just a bit of a rule of thumb that I go by. Now, when it comes to, say, selling, for example, if I try and sell this hard leather shield now, and just keep the price how it is and confirm the order, it won't sell. Now, if I go in, and this is something I do every time no matter what I'm selling, and just drop it off by, say, 20%, and then confirm, it sells straight away. Now, there's a lot of items where even doing that it still won't sell, and it's just a matter of continually dropping the price a little bit by little bit until it does. Now, this is something RuneScape doesn't really teach you, and I think it should, because it's important to know how this all works. And the exact same thing can be said about buying as well. So let's say I wanted to buy a prayer potion, keep it how the price is that it recommends, confirm the order, it will not buy. So we come back in, we go in, and this time with buying, we up it by 20%, confirm the order, and it buys straight away. Now, this has helped me so many times, especially if I'm in a rush for something, or I really need something quickly, or I really need the money quickly, and again, it's something they don't really teach you. Tip number 7, portable skilling. Now, this one is something I've figured out recently, and it is amazing, and it makes you gain so much extra XP if you need it. And this is for skills where you're making something, like, say, herb lore, cooking, construction, fletching. And what you want to do is you want to hop worlds and go to world 84. So I should say here, 84, portable skilling. Now, this can be quite laggy sometimes, depending on how well your internet is, so be careful of that. So world 84, and you want to come to Lumbridge, and then you want to follow the path north, up to where all the stalls are. You can already tell I'm starting to get a bit of lag just because there's so many people here. And basically, this is a special spot where players will come and they'll use all of their portable skilling stations. So there's a little bank chest here as well. I'll give you an example. So I've got some potions I need to make for herb lore. So we'll come into the bank. We'll get out the things that I need to get. Now, instead of just making these in my inventory, I want to utilize one of these portable skilling things that people have put down. So for herb lore, that's the portable well. So I'll click this, and then it comes up here. You actually gain extra XP by doing this. And then you begin, and you just repeat and do this for any skill that has a portable skilling thing. Workbench, fletching, a well, a crafter. People will also use cinder cores nearby, which gives you an extra boost of XP as well. And it's just, once you know about this, there's no point doing this stuff in your inventory anywhere else. It's just so much quicker here, and it's so much better. So again, world 84, portable skilling. Tip number 8 is auto retaliate. Now, this is something that they don't really explain to you well, but if you're a lower player and you're trying to get somewhere and you have to pass some enemies that maybe attack you, and they are aggressive, you want to be able to turn on and off your auto retaliate. So here my auto retaliate is on, so if I try and walk past these fire giants, let's say I'm trying to run past them to get somewhere, they will automatically attack me, and my character will automatically attack back. Now, this can not be helpful sometimes if you're trying to get somewhere and you really need to get there because maybe you're low or you're low on health. You do not want your character stopping and automatically attacking the enemy. So run over here, and the way that you turn this off is next to your health bar, you'll see you've got 2 swords, and if you hover over it, it says auto retaliate enabled. If you click it, it turns to 1 sword and it says auto retaliate disabled. Now, if we go back up here, so let's pretend I'm trying to get past the fire giants. they'll attack me, but my character will not attack back, which means I can keep running, and even though he's trying to attack me, I can ignore it, keep going, and get to where I need to go quicker without having to stop to attack all of the enemies that attack me. So for tip number 9, we have charms. Now this is another important one, and that's always keep charms. No matter what you're killing, if they drop a charm on the ground, make some room in your inventory and pick it up. Charms are used in the summoning skill, and it's one of the few things in the game that can't be bought on the GE, especially for the sake that you need charms to level up summoning any which way how, from 1 to 99, and you cannot buy them. So even if you're killing level 1 trolls, or you're killing, you know, massive bosses and whatnot, if they're dropping charms, pick them up, make a tab in your bank and hang on to them, because you will need them eventually. So for tip number 10, we have the mining stamina bar. Now for ages when I was mining, obviously you keep hitting one rock and your stamina bar goes down and down. Now I thought that once your stamina bar reaches the end, you need to click on a completely different rock for your stamina to go back up again. Just like so. When in actuality, you only have to click on the same rock one more time for it to refresh your stamina bar. This just saves you having to simply go and run to multiple different rocks all the time and instead stay at the same one that you're hitting. Now obviously if your rock has the yellow dust or the gold dust there like this one does, you do want to hit that because it will give you a bigger crit, but if not, you can just keep clicking your same rock to refill your stamina bar at any time. So even if you're only missing a small portion, click it again, full stamina. For tip number 11, we have ore boxes. Now this might be something that's pretty self-explanatory, but for me, I didn't realize it probably until, 30 or 40 mining. But when you first start off and you get your first ore box, they tell you it can hold 120 ore. So for me, I was so cautious making sure for something where you can hold, you need double like copper and tin, I only got 60 of each, so I could have 120 in the ore box. What I did not realize was that you can actually hold 120 of each ore, meaning you can have 120 tin ore and 120 copper ore in one ore box, and this applies to every ore that you unlock as you get higher and higher. So with max tier ore box, you can have 120 of each ore in your ore box at one time, just like that. Alright guys, so for tip number 12, and this one's nearing the end of the video just because it's not something you need to worry about straight away, but it is something that's very helpful, and that is helpful items. Now, you can come to this place by using a Ring of Kinship and going to Demonheim, and you can actually talk to this dude here, the rewards trader. Right click, go into the shop, and there's a bunch of stuff here, but some of the really important ones are things like a bone crusher. Now with this, if you have it in your inventory, anytime you kill anything that would drop bones, it will automatically pick it up for you and bury them. You can also get something like the Charming Imp, whereas again, if you have it in the inventory, anytime you kill something that drops charms, it will automatically pick them up for you instead of you having to pick them up. And these things just make the game a whole bunch easier. They're not something that you're really going to get straight away, but it's something cool to aim for. And you can buy them with Dungeoneering tokens, which you can get from either leveling the Dungeoneering skill itself, or from doing something like Elite Dungeon 3 and the bosses drop you Dungeoneering tokens, or you can even get them as a reward from the Treasure Hunter. So something cool to aim for, and again, not even something I have, but it's something I'm looking forward to getting to. Now for tip number 13, this is a big one. And this is probably one of the most crucial things I wish I knew when I started my first RuneScape account, and that is keep everything. When I first started and I was getting small drops, little things here and there that I thought, okay, these aren't worth much or they're not going to help me, and I just bin them or not put them in my bank because I didn't want to take up room. Do not do this. Pick up everything you get. There is no harm in keeping it all, and I promise you it will come to a point in time where you'll need it for some odd reason or something or other. It could be a quest, it could be something else, you might need it for a different skill, for example hanging on to logs, because you can use that eventually to get your fire making up. So it's very crucial, keep everything you get, unless it's something that's worth a ton of money and you're short on some cash and you want to sell it, go for it, but everything else keep. It's all worth it in the end. Well, there you have it guys, that's 13 tips that I wish I knew when I started my first ever RS3 account on RuneScape. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you found some helpful tips in it. I had an absolute blast making it. If you guys liked the video, please feel free to like it, subscribe, maybe even comment down below of what you liked, what you'd do different. And if it was helpful, maybe I can make another one with some extra tips if you guys enjoy it. All of our links are in the description. You can check out our other videos. We also stream on Twitch. We have a TikTok, an Instagram, a Facebook, the whole lot. So thanks again. I hope you all enjoyed this as much as I did. Peace.